Becoming your own bank. Believe it or not, there are already debit cards, credit cards, and high yield savings accounts or interest bearing accounts natively designed for the digital asset space. So when you become your own bank, you put yourself in a position to earn yield. Create incredible passive income streams by activating your capital via lending or staking protocols with rates up to, and in some cases past, 15%. Now, you also give yourself an opportunity to access unlimited capital. Now, with that, you can leverage your holdings, lock them up in something called a smart contract, and then it can grant you access to credit via a mechanism known as over-collateralized lending. Now, in the future, there may be under-collateralized lending, and there are different protocols being designed to facilitate that. But for the time being, you can get a loan so long as you put up more collateral than what it is you want the loan for. So let's just say in the event of something like a 80% loan-to-value ratio, if you put down $1,000 on a protocol like Nexo, you could access $800 as a credit line. And then let's say you take that $800, you go make a trade, you double the money. Well, you come back, you pay back that $800 plus whatever the interest rate was. And then you can take that $1,000 collateral that you had, you can take it right off the platform. Full 24/7 access. Now, most traditional banks, they operate on weekdays. They operate on days that are not holidays, right? And they work within a certain window, right? If it's the weekend, a lot of banks won't allow you to make a transfer between accounts. Is it not your money? Oh yeah, we already talked about that. It's not your money really, it's IOU. So in the digital asset space, that's another beautiful aspect of it, is you can transact, you can withdraw, you can deposit, you can transfer between accounts, borrow money, all of that whenever you feel like it, 24/7. Now the other benefit is you have true ownership. As long as you have the private keys, you actually hold that underlying asset. You actually own that thing. Whereas with money, with paper money, with fiat, stuff like this, right? At the end of the day, it's an IOU. It's a transfer of debt. That's why it's called a bill, a $100 bill, right? At the end of the month, you pay your electricity bill because it's money you owe. These bills are money owed. That's actually what they represent, okay? Now, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole here, but just know that when you become your own bank, the benefits are many, okay? So spending your crypto, debit cards, credit cards for everyday purchases. Now, my top recommendation for spending your crypto would be the BitPay card. Now, this is a debit card, and the benefits are it exists on the MasterCard network, has very low fees, and it has multi-asset support. So things like USDC, DAI, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, they're supported inside of the BitPay wallet. Now, the cons, it is a prepaid card, but even as the case, it doesn't provide you with an accounting or a routing number. So in certain instances, right, I wanted to go pay one of my credit card bills down, and I couldn't do it because I could only connect something with an accounting or a routing number. I couldn't just pay it with the card itself. Now, the other con is that it does have a KYC requirement, right? Now, personally, I like the decentralized aspect of cryptocurrencies. I think that's one of its biggest strong suits, but it's not a big deal. Some things you just got a KYC for the time being, but I do put that as one of the cons. The other con, probably the biggest one in comparison to some of the other offerings on the market, is that there is no cash back. But there are very, very low fees compared to most other debit cards I've looked into, and they have a very, very generous ATM withdrawal limit, whereas some other cards are very, very conservative of what they let somebody withdraw from an ATM. Now, similar offerings include the Block card, debit card, as well as the Crypto.com Visa card. And if you're interested, all you have to do is go to BitPay's website, right, which is bitpay.com, and then you can order a card, and you can download the app. And I would say that'd be the easiest thing to do. So you download the app, and then you can order your physical card through there. It'll give you a virtual card in the app, but if you want a physical card, which I would recommend, you order it through the app. It'll get delivered in about a week or so, and then you're good to go. Now, the other cool thing about this is if you're a business owner like myself and you want to allow the acceptance of digital assets as payment on your website or within your business, BitPay can also facilitate that for you as well, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as credit cards, my top recommendation would be the Nexo credit card. Now, the benefits is that it allows you to access a dynamic credit line. And what that means is, let's say you put in $1,000 worth of Ethereum today, and a month from now, Ethereum has doubled in price. Well, regardless of what the loan to value ratio is of that Ethereum, let's just assume it's 50%. So you put in $1,000 worth of Ethereum today, your credit line is $500. If Ethereum doubles in price, your credit line has also now doubled, going from $500 credit limit to $1,000. All right, so that's pretty cool. And on your card, that's reflected because you just accessed that dynamic credit line. The other pro is that there's instant cash back on most of your purchases, if not all of them. All of your purchases, yes, indeed. I'm looking at it right here. And the other benefit is that there is no annual and there are no monthly fees to have this card. Now, the downsides, the availability is quite limited at this exact moment in time. Now, at the moment of recording, rather. Now, whenever you watch this, that might be different, but it can be a bit difficult to actually get your hands on this card at the moment. You can still open an Nexo account, but to actually get the card, that can maybe be a little bit tricky depending on when you're watching this. Now, the other con is that even though you do get cash back on all purchases, the cash back rate is a bit lower than what some of the other offerings are on the market. Now, something similar is the BlockFi Rewards Visa card and the Gemini credit card. And if you're interested in this, all you have to do is go over to Nexo's website, click on card, and then you can get in line to get your card, right? But I do believe that you need to at least create an account first. Now, passive income opportunities. Whew. This right here is one of the biggest reasons that I really dove in, both feet into the digital asset space, because you can get some tremendously high yield inside of the space. Now, let's actually talk about what I like to call the alchemy of yield, all right? Because it is a bit of a alchemical process. It's also a good way to beat inflation. So, step one, you convert some of your fiat into cryptocurrencies. And then you take that crypto and you deploy it to some yield-bearing protocol, whether that be Aave, Compound, Nexo, Alpha Hamura. I mean, there are literally tens and tens, dozens, if not hundreds of these types of protocols. They're not all created equal, but there are a lot. And then you either allow that yield to compound and grow, or you can convert that yield back into fiat and reinvest it elsewhere. So let's say you took $1 million worth of fiat, right? Not even that. Let's say you took $10,000 worth of fiat and you put it into crypto. And then that crypto did a few backflips and 10x'd, and now that crypto, that 10,000 is worth 100,000. You take that 100,000, you put it on a interest-bearing protocol that gives you 10% annual interest, and now you're earning $10,000 a year passively. Take that a step up higher, and let's say you put 100K in, that 100K 10x into $1 million, you park that $1 million into a 10% annual interest protocol. Now you're printing $100,000 annually passively. And you can either let that continue to compound on itself, and that $1 million turns into 1,100,000, and now you're printing even more money annually, passively, or you take that $100,000 that you made, you take some of it out, and then you go throw it into a different investment asset, whether that be real estate, stock market, or some other opportunity that you have, right? But this cycle can go back and forth depending on how you see fit. And in my opinion, based on how things are going in the US and other parts of the world with the financial system, I would highly recommend that you consider always keeping a portion of your wealth in digital assets, even if it's just a stable coin, right? Now, maybe, there's some times where stable coins are the business and times where that might prove less prudent. But regardless, I would highly recommend that you take full advantage of these different interest-bearing protocols and you conduct the alchemy however you see fit that works best for you. All right. Now, in terms of these borrowing and lending products, I say that Nexo is the best all around, and it is what I use personally. Benefits: generous, stable earn rates. $375 million insurance that they are working to get up to over $1 billion. dozens of financial licenses over dozens of states and several different countries. Intuitive web and mobile apps, right? Nexo's the business. Let me just say that, right? Could not recommend them more highly. Now, some of the cons. They do have a bit limited asset support, so there are other platforms that allow you to put far more exotic assets on the platform, but in my assessment, the reason that the asset support is limited is for stability purposes. Now, the other con is that it is a centralized company. Now, granted, the protocol itself is a smart contract, but it is not a fully decentralized execution of these protocols. And if you're looking for something similar, but for some reason you don't want to use Nexo, I would suggest you take a look at crypto.com, Celsius, BlockFi, Gemini has a rewards program as well. But in my humble opinion, Nexo is the best way to go if you're cool using a centralized entity. Okay? Now, after that, what we have is decentralized options. The best decentralized option would be Aave. So fully decentralized, varied asset support, multi-chain compatible, and it is the most used decentralized lending and borrowing protocol. It has the most total value locked. At the time that I took this screenshot, they had about $21 billion total value locked on the protocol. Now, some of the cons, they have very volatile interest rates at times, and the user experience can be a little bit less intuitive, especially compared to something like Nexo. Now, something similar in the decentralized variety is Compound, Yearn, Alpha Homora, Anchor Protocol, as well as Sovereign. Now, the last thing that we'll talk about is the portfolio. And this is very critical if you truly want to be on top of how you are performing. Now, what I would recommend you look into and consider using is an app called Folio. Now, you can go to their website just to get an idea, but they only exist as a mobile application at this current moment in time. But where you want to leverage this and use a portfolio to your advantage, you want to document all of your orders. So buys, sales, transfers. You want to put the dates in there, the asset types, and then any fees that you incurred and any notes that you want to remind yourself of or are pertinent to that particular action, that transaction. Now, you also want to make sure you're using precise data. So down to the cent, right, and your fees, you want to be accurate about this because that's the only way you're really going to know what the true performance was of your investments, whether that be gains or losses. And it's a pretty easy app to use. It's pretty intuitive, and you can actually take APIs and connect the Blockfolio app directly to many exchanges, Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, so that anytime you transact, it automatically updates your portfolio inside of Blockfolio. So that there is that option as well. Congratulations. We have covered the basics, and now we are ready to build upon that foundation if you're ready to build upon it. Now, once again, my name is Sae'Von Springer, founder and managing partner at Native Assets, and we are very grateful that you shared this time with us today. Take care, stay blessed, stay balanced. Peace.